What's up, guys? Frostie here, coming at you with another deck tech from Magic the Gathering Arena. This time, going over an oldie but a goodie, JUND monsters. This list was actually given to us by a viewer. We made a few changes to the mana base and ran it through a couple QCQs. And I like it. I really do. It takes a lot of the base red-green dinosaurs deck. So if you've been playing the beta for a while, this was kind of a starter deck you were given, and maybe you stuck with it and you crafted a couple tyrants, maybe another Atali or whatever. So you might have the majority of this deck already. Does not cost a lot to make, not a lot of wild cards. But we'll start it over on the lands, of course, because this was the big change we made. The list that was given to us used a lot of uncommon dual lands. So we made some pretty good changes to it. But we went with a lot of basics because of the ranging raptors. A big part of this deck is to ramp out into your large dinosaurs fairly quickly. So starting at the top, 1 swamp, 4 mountains, 5 forests, dropping down into your dual lands, 3 summits, 2 cemeteries, 4 crags, with 2 sheltered thickets rounding out the colored lands. If you have a better land base or one that has worked for you a bit more, feel free to share it. Again, mana bases are one of those things that constantly can change, constantly be tuned, tweaked. And this is the one we found that was working for us. 1 Arch of Orzak, or I can never pronounce this fucking card. Oraska. Fuck. Simply because late into the game, if the game actually goes late, you kind of run out of stuff to do. So Arch will help you sort of refill your hand later on. You ramp out quite a bit, so the 6 mana to activate is not that big of a deal. Going over to removal spells, as we are a monsters deck, removal is not one of the things that we are using here very much. 3 Magnum Sprays just to help out the mono-red matchup, as well as black-white vampires / mono-white knights, which has been huge in Arena since Dominators release. If you guys have not run into History of Benalia on 3, you are very lucky. 2 Heaven and Earth. This card has been fucking phenomenal. You can always just cast Heaven for 1 green and then take out the ground with Earth. I wish Earth did damage to players as Earthquake does, but they did not do that. But Heaven and Earth has been really fantastic, especially in the sort of aggro matchups where your mid game will completely crush them, but if you get run over, then you don't have a whole lot to do for the first 4 or 5 turns. The fact that Earth will kill your Llanowar Elves doesn't really matter. Savage Stomp 4x, pretty, I would say, normal removal spell for dinosaurs. Territorial Allosaurus I will count as removal spell, as it does fight as well. 7 mana to make a 5/5 that fights, and 1 Vraska as sort of a splash removal spell. I would agree if you wanted to play some amount of contempts or cast downs or moments, adding a bit more black mana to the deck to sort of round out the removal suite. I get to cast her in any of the games we played, as they just kind of die to the Glorybringers and Bladewings, but she seems good. And let's go over the creatures. 4x Llanowar Elves, a must-have. The whole point of the deck is to ramp out your dinosaurs a lot faster than your opponent. I don't believe you need the other rampers. I don't believe you need Vitalist or the Drover of the Mighty or any of those. Turn 1 Llanowar Elf into turn 2 Ranging Raptors is about all the ramp you'll need. Oh, we forgot to go over Grow the Ashes. Running this over the, I forget what the actual 2 mana ramp spell is. The one that you have to reveal a dinosaur to cast it onto. Because we're running Llanowar Elves, we're pretty much skipping 2 a lot of the times. We don't run a whole lot of 2-drops. No real need. We don't actually run any 2-drops. No real need for it. The untapped mana can help you later on when you need to cast multiple spells in a turn. Jumping over to our tutors, 2 Forerunners. You don't really need a whole lot of them, I feel. I think they're fine as is. They're useful when they're in play, but majority of the time they do get stopped. And they're only really useful with Ranging Raptors. Beyond that, we don't run a whole lot of creatures that trigger with the 1 damage, so... And we're running Heaven and Earth, so the 1 damage on the other side of the field doesn't really matter that much. Bladewing, this is what wins us most of our games, actually. 4/4/4 flying that ramps up later to create 2 of them. Sort of a pseudo Broodmate Dragon. Has been great for us. Ripjaw Raptor has been decent. A lot of times, by the time we play a Raptor, or sometimes we play it first in order to pull the hard removal from our opponent, pulling contempts or cast downs or anything like that. Again, we went over Allosaurus, sort of a removal spell here. The 2-2-2 split, I mean, you could go any number here. I would love to see what you guys come up with. If there are other 4-drops you'd love to play, we kind of spread these out. But this is the main one here. 4X Glorybringers, must-have, I feel, for this deck. It allows you to close out games extremely quickly, especially when they come out on turn 4. Atali and Carnage Tyrant are our 6-drops. I'm not a huge fan of Atali, especially when we don't have the Give a Dinosaur Haste guy. I would not fault you to change these to a different sort of dinosaur, a different finisher. Maybe some more removal spells, and just leave in the 2 Carnage Tyrants, which is something we actually might try out later on. But very simple deck, a lot of fun. Has been interesting to play. I believe the first QCQ we went 7-1 with. It's got a lot of power to it. I don't believe it's as fast as it could be or as powerful as it could be, but it is simple to create, cheap as far as MTGA goes. So we'll be looking forward to playing with more of this, tuning it, tweaking it, seeing where we can go with it, maybe add a few more removal spells, change up the dinosaurs a bit. But that's JUND in a nutshell. Removal and big dudes, right? That's always been the case. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you would change some of the creatures out, maybe add a few removal spells, or what the mana base you'd go with. Well, that's all for this deck, dudes. Leave a comment below what you guys think, what cards you would change, and if you liked the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Once again, my name is Frostie, and I'll see you next time.